Welcome to another episode of In the Sheds. I'm here with the man Criss-Cross. G'day, mate. How are you?
Bro.
What is happening, mate?
Mate, a bit of everything.
Sure.
Doing some drawings.
Yes.
You know, looking after myself.
Good.
Getting this thing back on the road, which has been really
You have
good.
a lot going on, I've noticed.
Yeah, but it's a lot, but it's not at the same time.
Okay.
If anything, it's actually been reduced quite significantly the last couple of months. But I was having a think, because we were teeing this up, and I was having a think about when we first met. Mm-hmm. And
I was actually trying to think about this, and I can't even remember when it was.
Well, I think the first time you and I met was at an event with, I think, 𝐇𝐿𝐒 from 𝐵𝐿𝐒 Media.
Sure, of course. His face is everywhere around this suburb.
Well, he's doing 𝐇𝐿𝐒. He's doing real estate now.
𝐇𝐿𝐒. Buy something off 𝐇𝐿𝐒 or lease something commercial?
Leasing commercial.
Yeah.
So 𝐇𝐿𝐒's the man to see now. But I think we met through that.
Yeah.
And then we happened to go out one night. We went to a trip to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
That was a good night.
Always a good night.
Always. But I think the bit where you and I actually started to genuinely have good conversations was just around where COVID hit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I think our views are the same.
Well, I think that's right. I think, and that was like a bit of an eye-opener
Sure.
of whose views were the same, who kind of thought in certain ways, who could you have a certain conversation with compared to who you couldn't.
We are socially distanced as well, just...
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am wearing my Pride
You're wearing yours as well?
panties
Yeah,
as well.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's good.
I've got the crutchless ones too. Oh. Now, man, one of the massive things you're passionate about is the drawing. Explain to me and everyone else that knows you or potentially doesn't know you, how you got into that, man. How the fuck can you draw so good?
Mate, I think it's like anything that you see anyone around us that either makes a business or does quite well out of it, whether it's financial or internal, you know. It's just one of those things that you just did as a kid.
Sure.
And it just never stopped.
So you're always good as a kid drawing?
Well, I wasn't good as a kid,
Yeah.
but I always drew as a kid.
Okay.
Always, as a kid, I was always drawing.
So at what point did you go, man, I've got some skills, like I'm going to pursue this?
Well, you know, when I left school, I did a graphic design course. I tried to get into it, and then I actually just completely let go of it altogether.
Sure.
And I lost the passion, but I wasn't really quite true to myself in a way. I was, you know, drinking with the boys, and we were doing some silly stuff. And
As you do at that age?
yeah, I moved out with a group of the guys, and you know, they were all great guys. Like we weren't doing anything, you know, that was going to hurt anyone. But at the end of the day, it was just a bit of fun.
Sure.
So I guess, you know, the concept of doing something where you hyper focus and all that, just it wasn't in my capacity yet.
Yeah.
Then I actually worked as a I worked at a bank.
Okay.
And worked my way up.
Did you pocket a few 50s every now and then? Payday? No.
Can't, you know.
Can't disclose?
Can't disclose.
Yeah, don't incriminate yourself.
No, of course not.
What bank was it?
At the CBA.
Okay, sure.
And but it was thanks to that, and it was a great job. And don't get me wrong, like I personally, I started to realize that wasn't me.
Yeah.
The suit, the tie.
Yeah.
I started to really dread being there.
Sure.
But in reality, it's most people's dream job because it was a great job.
Yeah. Is it just because it's the mundane, it's the boring,
Yeah.
it's the same old, same old?
There was no expression of self.
Yeah, okay.
Like you had to be there for this. These are the rules. This is the micromanaging.
Dress a certain way, look
That's
a certain
right.
way, yep.
And I felt very like I was being choked.
Sure.
You know, creatively,
Yes.
spiritually, whatever.
Uh-huh.
It just wasn't a place for me to grow as who I kind of was.
Uh-huh.
And then one day there was a gentleman, I forgot who it was, he's not doing it anymore. But I saw this guy post up a drawing on Gumtree.
Yep.
Marketplace.
Yep. Isn't that a treat to get on sometimes? Holy hell.
I haven't been on it for years.
Don't do yourself a favour, don't get on there.
Don't?
It's dangerous.
Is it?
Oh,
Damn. Now I want to do it.
yeah. Do it.
That's a self-destructive part. But I saw this guy, and so I'd stopped drawing for years, man. Absolute years. Didn't even pick up pencil. Didn't even think about it. And this guy was doing these drawings, and he was selling them for like 80 or $100.
Yeah.
And they were shit.
Yeah.
Like, no offense, but they were shit.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, fuck, I could do better than that.
Sure.
And that pissed me off enough.
That he's making money on crap
That
artwork.
he's making money on crap art. And I guess it was just that thought that I ended up catching up with a guy called Bill. He had a really cool Mustang that he was building or finishing.
What type of Mustang?
A 67 fastback. It was a full, probably a $200,000 build at the time.
Beautiful.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah, which is a lot of money.
ITBs, dropped, big billet wheels, beautiful car, car, complete custom. And he asked me to do a drawing, big one, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And then from that, all of a sudden, it started to have this roll-on effect.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, where the place that we were renting at the time became like the dining room table, soon inevitably became the studio.
Yeah, sure.
So we had no dining room table after that. And, you know, within about 6 months, you know, I was taking on about 20, 30 orders every month.
Yeah, wow.
And they were being sold for like 80 or 140 bucks.
Yeah.
And I was
but they're
pumping.
10 times the quality of Old Mate that was you saw.
Yeah, well, what, 10 times.
Yeah.
But I was also doing them in about four or 5 hours tops. So I was
Yeah.
smashing them out.
Yeah.
Smashing them out. And then ended up going part-time at the bank
Yeah.
because it started to grow and grow and grow. And then we finally bought a house, that set up a proper studio.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just inevitably things evolved. By 2018, I
Sure.
left the bank
Yeah.
and then went full-time.
Wow. So how long
And-
would I reckon I've known you for? It would have been around that time?
It would have been around that
2019?
time.
Yeah,
It would have been around that
Yeah,
time.
so you're only just sort of fresh going into it then?
As a business, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
As
Okay,
a
cool.
But it was always, you know what it was, mate? It was overhauling.
Yeah.
You watch overhauling?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, first start off with like rides on
Uh-huh.
like Discovery Channel.
Yeah,
That was like
yeah.
good. That was
That's still around.
it's a great show.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the old ones, they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it was overhauling, watching Foos, and Foos was like there was the guy on TV
Yeah.
doing drawings, building cars with his own TV show
Yeah.
around the coolest shit you could imagine.
Yeah. That is the dream, hey, for some.
That was the dream.
Yeah.
And that's it. That
Yeah.
was, for me, that was the fuel, that was the everything that kind of planted that seed of
Yeah.
you can do something.
Totally.
Like there's something.
And something you're passionate about too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I remember I got my old car, the VE, drawn by you. It was
Yeah.
a bit of a present. I didn't know this was happening at the time. My mum got it. I'm going to put in the photo of this.
Good
I
old
still got
mumsy.
it. Yeah, my mum.
Good
Yeah,
old
love it a
mum.
bit. She won't be watching this because she's not good on the computer, so cheers, mum. But I've got it at home on my wall, man, and I still, to this day, I remember when I opened it, I was at not the Pineapple Hotel, I was at the Norman Hotel having a steak.
Yes.
And this big present come in, and I opened it, and I legit swear to God, I thought it was a photo
Oh, yeah.
in a frame. And I was like, the hell? And then I looked at it, and it's obviously Criss-Cross authenticated on the back of it, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, you've drawn this. Man, that was probably one of the most badass things I've seen, and probably the most prized possession I have still left of that car, the memory,
that's
is that
awesome.
every time I come home, man, it's in my lounge room, bam, right on the wall.
That's cool.
And it was the dopest photo.
Yeah.
What sort of something like that normally take you to draw? Like, is there a set time you allow?
Yeah, well, these days, like something like yours was a bit of a bigger size. It had a few views.
Yeah.
Those are normally taking me anywhere from 30 to 40 hours
Yeah,
now.
wow. Okay.
Give or
cool.
take.
Yeah. That's a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can sit there and just get in your creative zone and you just hammer it out.
Yeah, but not in one hit.
Yeah, sure.
It's in like stints of
course.
anywhere from 4 to 6, maybe 8 hours
Yeah.
if I'm in a really good state of mind.
Yeah, sure.
But it comes in lots. But
Yeah.
it's just about, you know, if you find that creative flow, that state of flow,
Yeah.
it's just like anything, whether you're working with metal, whether you're working
Yeah.
with paints, whether you're,
Yeah.
you're a carpenter, whether you're a PT,
Yeah.
you know, you find that state of flow,
Yeah.
you know, hours go by before
Totally.
you're done.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, it's nighttime.
So what would you, as someone that might be watching this that wants to get into drawing, has no idea, what would you recommend to them to start, or any advice?
I always say volume.
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 Yep.
So
Like,
if,
just turn it up, or what do you mean by volume?
volume of like your quantity.
Yeah, so just getting out heaps of drawings.
Yeah.
Is that to just help try fine tune things, or?
It's a bit of two things.
Yeah.
So I think if you're doing, I think it's like anything. It's like
Yeah.
if you're working on cars, if you're doing drawings, if you're a carpenter, if you're a builder, you know, you'll offer your services at a lower price, sometimes even for free.
Yeah.
You know, it's a handshake deal or something like that. Not only to get in the door with certain people,
Yeah.
but also to get the experience.
Sure.
And just getting that out of the way, you can start to develop a great network of people,
Yeah,
a bit of a pipeline for the future.
Sure.
But because you're not necessarily charging top dollar when you're starting off,
Yeah.
you can afford to make some mistakes.
Of course.
You
And people
can-
would understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's right.
Yeah.
Because it's not top dollar or it's for free, there's a leeway between that thing being $2,000 and it being done for free.
Yeah. Sure.
And sometimes when it's for free, there's an incredible amount of gratitude that comes from that person. Sometimes you'll end up getting paid, or if not paid, it works out.
yeah.
The muse gives back in some way.
It all comes around in a way.
It all comes around. So if you're starting off with anything, if you've got a passion, you've got a talent, I just say draw like crazy, build like crazy, create create,
And then that circle would be, they would be more inclined to want to use you as your friends. You've got that network. If they have something coming up, they'd be more inclined to use you in that sense then?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Now, where can someone find you if they want a car drawn or they want a self-portrait? We're going to go inside in a minute and have a look at the studio. He's got so much cool stuff in there. If they want something drawn by you, what's the best process?
Easiest way, just on social. So either Criss-Cross Art on Instagram or Car Drawings by Christian Cross on Facey.
Yeah.
Or
do yourself a favour, guys, please get onto the Facebook one. Sorry to interrupt there. The drawings this guy does, I'm telling you right now, you did one for one of the boys up in Toowoomba, had the truck, had the Lambo.
Metcalf,
Metcalf, that's
Christopher
right,
Metcalf.
yes, I had a mind blank there. All of his cars all lined up, man. That was badass. How long did that take?
That took well over 300 hours.
So I'm going to load a clip up of this just so you guys can see that how, it's incredible.
From start to finish, it was just over 6 months.
Wow.
Start to finish, because I had to take breaks, man.
Yeah,
there was a lot of detail.
Yeah.
And it took about a year to kind of get into it.
Sure.
The outline itself took me like 4 weeks.
But there was no deadline that had to be done.
No, see, Christopher, like some other really, really good clients, no deadline and complete creative freedom.
Perfect.
Obviously, they influence,
of course,
what they want to see. But I think it's wonderful when you get this person that allows you to have that gives you trust.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're good at what you do, so I feel like you're delivering a good product.
And when you get that, you get this wonderful state of flow, where you're just being creative. Like you've been given a bit of a blank canvas to create something special, bring things together. And Chris was one of those guys. He's got some beautiful cars. He's got plenty of trucks as far as his business. But he wanted this the shot that would be very hard to get when you've got a big collection of cars and a lot of trucks. Like to line all of them up, get a photographer out, get people to drive them in and out, find a good location, so on and so on and so on and so on and so on.
That's a big process.
It's a big, it's a big commitment. It's a big
But
project.
if you draw it, it's not that big.
So all that I did is I went and visited him at Toowoomba. We took some great photos of the cars. He already, a good photographer had already taken an excellent photo of one of the trucks. So I used that as a reference.
Perfect.
And then, just creatively, just put them all side by side. And then he had this dream image that otherwise would have never happened. And those are really cool because they're challenging, but they're creative and they're a pain in the ass, but they're really fun.
Of course.
There's a good mix of emotions that goes
through
through
it. Just sorry to go back there, your Facebook, Instagram, any other socials that people could find you on?
Oh,
give yourself a shameless plug here, brother.
There's a YouTube, Criss-Cross Art. There's a TikTok, Criss-Cross Art. There's a podcast, Criss-Cross.
You've just started doing that. Give that a plug, man. What exactly is that about? Because we'll touch on more on this in a second. You're really big on the men's mental health side of things and trying to get people to talk and communicate and network together, which I think is cool as fuck.
Well, I think it's a funny thing. Like I love there's an incredible passion for the cars. I think these things, they give us a bit of a break. I find it's a bit of a break. When you go for a drive and you catch up with your mates, you go to an event, I find myself being very present in that moment. And that's a very hard thing to do, especially when you've got your phone, you've got
today's day and age.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that take you away from the present. And even if you've got a bit of trauma or you've got things that take you back emotionally, again, it's hard to be present. But when you go to a show, when we meet up, when you go for a drive, and when you're going down to '⁄4 and you're doing whatever speed you're doing in your Fox body, that's it. That's the only thing that exists in that very point in time is that situation. And
it's funny you say that. Literally the only thing I'm thinking right now is that Dom Toretto in Fast and Furious going, live my life a quarter mile at a time, when he's saying nothing else exists. And that's so true with these things. I feel like I've had so many bad days before and not have a street car anymore, which I'm bummed about, but there'd be days where I just literally get in my car and I don't even know where I'm going.
Just go for a cruise.
Music off and you just cruise, and for that moment or that 20 minutes, half an hour, wherever you are, nothing else exists. So that's the best feeling.
Yeah, and there's a wonderful sense of, I think, especially with old school, or anything modified really, there's a wonderful sense of a balance of freedom and anxiety, because you're always driving, watching the temp, you're watching your oil pressure, you're watching your volts, you do a little rev, you're like, well, what the fuck is that vibration? So you're present, you've got no choice. So, but what I was saying...
And probably something like this as well, watching the fuel gauge go down with every stab.
Everything.
But it's a consumable. Probably like the tyres, I'm sure they get a bit of a caning as well.
Yeah, they're not.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. But so there's that. So there's these that I'm passionate. That's why I'm passionate about these things, and I love them. But there's also another sense where it's completely unrelated to do with cars, and that's what the podcast is going to be more about.
Awesome.
It's going to be more about your the way of thinking, your habits, bit of spirituality. Whether your masculinity is forcing the femininity out of your system, and what is your balance? Are you losing your balance? These, I guess, but a few internal things that I've gone through.
And you're just trying to share them with other people.
Just trying to share it. Beautiful. Just trying to share my whatever hint little 1% of insight that I've got in these
Yep.
topics that have helped me in a dramatic way.
Which might help a flow-on effect from other people as well.
Anything,
Right?
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
If there's one little 5 sentences that might just impact someone, great, that's a tick.
Yeah,
I've done my job.
Because it could save someone's life. But I feel like
You never
men,
know.
we don't talk about emotions and shit like that. We've been raised, well, I was certainly raised, it's like, toughen up, suck it up. Nah, you be right. Don't talk about it. Keep
Well,
moving,
mate,
keep moving.
it's 100%, mate. And I think it's also like I'm not from here, from Australia. I'm from Argentina.
Yeah.
And
the best barbecues in the world.
right,
Literally.
all the asados.
Well, that's where you're from.
But in Argentina, no, there was I've been fortunate enough to travel quite a few places,
Yeah.
whether it's in Sri Lanka, whether it's Argentina, whether it's in Asia,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all those wonderful places. There's culture.
Yeah.
There's a genuine,
Yeah.
rooted culture, whether they went through wars or not. There's a rooted culture. Whether in
you
Australia, I find that Australia, it's a very new culture.
You literally took the words out of my mouth.
And it doesn't really have a culture. I think the
Yeah.
culture here is money, law, and taxes.
Yeah.
I think that's the culture here.
That's one thing I've noticed as well, especially with the travels that I've done. But use a perfect example going to Sydney or Melbourne, where there's like a large ethnic population.
Yes.
The culture, the friendly community of everyone
The
sticking
external
together.
cultures,
Yes.
there's a draw towards them because there's a sense of identity, I think, in a lot of those.
Everyone in those other cultures, they all stick together.
Yeah.
And they'll all help each other. Like, let's say,
In a communal way.
yeah. So there might be a plumber, electrician, a sparker, whatever they might be. They all help each other's business. Whereas here in Australia, no one wants to see anyone doing better than them.
No.
Which I think is shit.
And I think that in its own brings a societal culture, which
Yeah.
you were just talking about, which is that concept of, men are men, you don't cry, you don't speak,
Yeah.
you suck it up,
Yeah.
take a hard nut pill and,
Yeah.
and move on, and
Sure.
you'll be right.
You'll be right. Yeah. Yeah.
And same with the concept of women, like it was the concept of they have a certain place and,
Yeah.
and there's this. And again, that comes, I think, from a very colonial, fresh cultural perspective that that Australia only recently has.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that, I guess, my pendulum internally was a bit out of whack
Yeah.
because I came from a place where family, religion, food and a sense of love
Yeah.
was an immense part of the culture in Argentina.
Totally.
There's closeness, right? Music and the men are quite feminine over there because
Yeah.
there's this dancing, there's all
Yeah.
these different
Yeah.
things. Whether here, I found throughout school there was a sense of, if I cried, I was seen as a weakling.
Yeah, it's weak, yeah.
If you were a bit flamboyant, you were gay.
Yeah, sure.
And then
Which is not the case. You're trying to express yourself.
correct. But again, these ideologies kind of fell upon. And then I think internally it starts to draw you back
course.
from what you authentically
You go back
made.
into a shell because it's like a protection.
You go into a
mechanism.
shell.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
right. And I think that's an important thing to kind of address and discuss, because that was one of my biggest learning curves. Is
Yeah.
that I'm still kind of trying to find what my culture is,
Yeah, sure.
but I'm a bit more authentic to myself now,
Yeah.
and that was simply opening up.
Do you think that comes with an age thing?
100%.
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
dude. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Like,
So for people that may be listening to this that are 18, 19, 20, thinking, oh man, I don't know what the hell's going on in my life, what would you tell them in that instance that you've learned now with the age that you are?
I think when you're younger, like, dude, I'm not the same person I was a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not the same person I was when I was 18. Holy shit.
Well, I feel like you're constantly evolving, and
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
as a good person, you're always trying to learn and be better.
If you're doing well, you're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
That's because you can easily not constantly evolve.
Yeah, and you go backwards.
You go backwards, or you stay in the mundane, which is it's a neutral space where you don't want to be. It's like it's like a river.
Yes.
Once that river stops flowing, it goes stale, it goes moldy,
Yeah.
it goes green,
Yeah.
and it starts to die and wither.
Totally.
Just as much as anything. But if
Yeah.
anything that flows, whether there's sticks, whether there's rocks,
Yeah.
it'll continue to go somewhere. So it's just like yourself.
Yeah.
And I think when you're younger, this comes from my own personal perspective.
Yeah, of
This
course.
might not be anyone else's, but when you're young, and even now, urgency becomes the most important thing.
Yeah.
I want things now.
Yeah.
Urgent. The urgent is over the important.
Sure.
And there's a sense of rush and greed
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff.
I think that's a good thing though, as long as you don't compromise your values.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I think that takes years to really even figure out what one of your values may be.
Yeah, it's 100%.
And again, if you've got culture, even if you've got religion, your values are kind of implanted in yourself. Like they are part of your day-to-day life.
Yes.
I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious.
Yeah.
But I have a huge respect for any religion, whether it's Catholic, Buddhism, anything that might...
You've got to respect people's way of thinking.
Yeah, but there's a culture, there's laws, there's things in place that say, you know, look after your neighbor, look after yourself.
Yeah.
There are rules in place that allow that person to think a certain way, and that can keep them quite level with values.
Yeah, of course.
But when you don't have any religion, when you don't have any culture, when you're brought up in a sense of nothing but a societal way,
survival.
Yeah, there is to know what your values are. It can be very tricky.
Yeah.
So if you're young and there is a sense of struggle, or you don't feel authentic, or you don't feel like yourself, it can be very hard to kind of figure out what to do. And men go straight for the problem solving. That's our power.
Yeah,
that's the masculinity.
100%.
Go straight for problem solving. I think for guys, if you're struggling with that, go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Right back to the basics. And the basics are maybe touch your femininity a little bit and feel your emotions.
Sure.
Listen to your emotions.
That's hard for a lot of people to do.
It's very hard to do, but you know, even if you got to go out to a mountain or go to the beach, or you lock yourself in a car, off. You know,
car off.
Off.
Yeah, of course.
None of that. You know, if you need to tear it out, if you need to cry it out.
What if it's a Tesla? Can you turn it on or not?
I don't even know how those work. Are they always on?
I don't know, brother.
I think they're always on.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, I think feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Because that will touch on things that you are ignoring, which then cause, without you even knowing, it'll cause effects that bring bad habits out. So feel your feelings and have a little bit of respect for the word of patience.
Sure.
And by doing those two things, I think you can start to think about, you know, the urgency and importancy. I think when you're younger, it's easy to, I'll go out with my mates, I'll go out drinking, but I won't text mum for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Which is a bit self-destructive in a sense.
It inevitably becomes. Because you feel guilt.
Of course.
Eventually guilt kicks in that you didn't realize was there. You might even don't know what you're guilty about, but it's there.
Totally.
And that's what I mean about
this. Time you'll evolve and you'll learn to pick up on that stuff.
But you need to do that by listening to your emotions, listening to what's going on, taking a moment, and if internally you're suffering, suffer. Like really fucking suffer for an hour or something, or just sit there with that pain. Don't jump on your digital pacifiers.
Look for that dopamine hit.
Yeah, stop it with that. Feel the pain.
Sure.
And you'll feel better.
Totally.
You'll feel better.
Well, you learn to process it and deal with it better, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a powerful thing. Like if you can start to become a bit more mature with your emotions, with your feelings, a wonderful synergy within yourself and the world around you starts to happen. And that's where you start.
Mate, I love that. I could talk to you about this for hours, man, because I feel like it's a topic that it has no roof and you can always keep learning something. But part of the reason why I'm here is I want to have a look at some of these cars, or one of the cars that you brought with us today. So tell me a little bit about what is here behind us. Tell me about it, mate. What is this thing that you have here, this masterpiece?
So this is the Helvet.
Yeah.
78, 25th anniversary Corvette.
Yep.
It's not a Stingray. They stopped making the Stingrays in 76.
Sure.
And then from then onwards, it was just a Chevrolet Corvette.
Yeah. Not the split windows, single windows?
This is a single window with a Targa top. And it's the fastback with the window that goes all the way down.
The paint job. You've done this?
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera. We'll have a pan around in a minute. This thing's two-tone. So what's the go with it? What inspired that?
Initially, it was just a creative thing.
Yeah.
I loved the way it looked with yellow.
Like two personality almost.
Yeah,
style.
I loved the way it looked in the black.
Sure.
And I look, in a spiritual way, I'm a Libra.
Sure.
And I find it hard to make decisions.
What's a Libra, bro?
So Libra is like your star sign.
Yeah, but like what animal is it?
It's the pendulum of balance.
Okay, yeah, sweet.
So it's not really any animal.
Sure.
It's just that.
There you go.
Learn
something new.
Try and make that balance.
Yeah. So hence why 50-50.
Right. So there was an indecision in my mind of do I want to keep it yellow? Do I want to make it grey?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I'll just do both.
Why not?
And I think it is, like I said, I was talking about cars, and when we roll up to a show and they're kind of our alter ego, this thing is kind of a bit like that. There's a side to me that is, that's just, a bit of a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
It's cars and boobies and that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And then there's a side of me that's quite spiritual.
Sure.
Meditative, dieting, mental health, all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of that.
So Let's have a look at it, brother. I'm gonna get the camera, talk me through it. Let's have a walk around and show everyone what this thing is about. Now, when I saw you pull up, it's got a cranky note to it, so let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start under the bonnet, or you don't have to pop the bonnet, unless you want to. Yeah, let's pop the bonnet.
So it's an L98 LS2.
LS2, yeah. What did these come out with factory?
These came out with a little 350.
Sure, okay, 350 Chev.
Little 350 Chev. But now, yeah, it's an L98 LS2, all alloy. And it's nothing major. It's just, it had a full Reco by Peter Phillips. And then it's got a cranky cam. It's got a lot of good gear in it.
Yes.
For it to be quite bulletproof and rev the guts out of it, because that's all I want to do.
And reliability?
And reliability, of course. But it's been converted to a carby.
Yep.
So it's running a carby.
Sure.
And then Steve from...
Brother, what's that, brother?
Carby, bro. That's why she's got that nice old school note. And of course the side pipes give it that beautiful note.
You can't miss these. Like
they were actually old truck stacks.
I love that.
They were old truck stacks.
I love that.
And then Steve from Jeff's Clutch Brake and Auto, Crucial. He helped me put it. He pretty much helped put it all together. And it's a bit of a bitzer of things, mate. Like it doesn't have all the top dollar stuff, but like it's running an AU Falcon alternator. The fans off an Astra. The fans are off a BF Falcon.
That's all right. If it works, it works.
There's all these different bits, but it's maintainable, it's cheap.
Yep.
Like I don't have to go to Summit Racing and get $2,000 alternator anymore. I can,
which is half the problem with some of these American deals. Hey,
everything's top dollar. Everything's this great big thing, but. When you go replace something, as far as the reliability of replacing or the affordability, unless you've got a lot of money, like it becomes quite an expensive thing. Everything in here is, you can get it from Autobahn, you can get it from Repco, everything.
Now, tell me a little bit about the inside, mate. What's the dealio in there?
It's as basic as it gets. I love, hence why the car is bagged and stanced out the way it is. I love the stance with a lot of JDM cars. I think JDM culture has mastered the stance side of things. So I kind of wanted to mix the JDM with the Pro Tours in America. And of course a bit of NASCAR. So I got the bride seats and...
That didn't come with factory though?
What's that?
The bride seats, that's obviously an aftermarket.
Yes, 100%, yeah. These were
that's the JDM touch?
These came out of an S15, these were for an S15.
Yes.
And then we had to modify that to make it work. And then obviously the NASCAR touch was just the Goodyears. They're not real, you can't, the genuine Goodyears are, well they're fully slick, so you can't put them on the street.
So they're just painted on as such?
There's a gentleman in Sydney, he doesn't know in business anymore, otherwise I'll give him a shout out, but he does these wonderful rubber cutouts. And then you pretty much glue them on, and they're on there. That's it. They don't fall off at all.
It does give it that very classic American race car look, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and a bit of the inspiration came from Lightning McQueen.
Of course.
Like he's got the letters on the tyre. He's got that the ducktail wing.
Yes. Let's have a look at that. Now, I've noticed a few stickers here.
Yeah, that's from...
What does that mean?
So 𝐶𝐿, like Ken Oath, fucking Oath,
Yeah.
But Ken Oath, that's the 𝐿𝐿 clothing company.
Copy that.
Check him out on Insta.
Yep.
Some beautiful ladies. So he takes some wonderful photos of, and yeah, he does some amazing work.
Yes.
And
factory taillights,
No, these are off a 63 Impala.
Okay, yeah, sure. I was going to say they did look a little bit different.
Yeah, so the taillights are off a 63 Impala.
Yeah.
It's a plexiglass wing. Again, this is all for show. The car's not a full-blown race car. It's just a show pony.
You might get a bit of aerodynamics when you cross over that bridge.
Sure.
It's a bit windy.
Yeah, maybe. It hasn't fallen off yet, so it's doing all right. And
left-hand drive too. When you first jumped in that, what did you think about driving left-hand drive on the obviously right-hand side of the road?
Dude, my first ever car was a '67 Mustang Squareback.
Yes.
And Dad used to import cars. So I saved up $4,000.
Sure.
For a 6-cylinder Mustang over there.
Wow.
And the dollar was, I think it was at 92 cents.
So it's good bang for buck.
Bang for buck. So I bought a '67 Mustang with a 250 pre-Crossflow, the old logger motors.
Yes.
The ones that came out of the XYs, XWs. And so I bought that, and that was my first car. So I grew up driving left-hand drive cars. Sure. So this is easy.
Okay.
But I think if you've been driving for 30 odd years, you've had good experience with right-hand drive cars, you are guaranteed to hit the gutter. And that just happens. But as far as me, it makes no difference. And
what made you want to buy this, dude?
Dad always had vets. Dad was vets and Mustangs.
Sure.
Vets and Mustangs. Vets and Mustangs. Vets and Mustangs. That's all they ever flowed. He bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold. But he was always on the side of complete originality.
Sure.
So this is a little bit of a...
Bit of creative flair, but yet stock at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, brother, thank you so much for showing us around and showing everyone that's tuned into this, the inside of the shop.
Thank you.
You're really big at the car shows, man. And there was one thing in particular, I love horsepower, and you posted up a photo of this immaculate, was it a Charger? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it made 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
Now, this is just me being a skeptic, and I apologise for that, but it said it made 3,000 horsepower. It was cranky, it lit the grass on fire, and I was like, holy shit. It's easy for someone to claim they made 3,000 horsepower. That thing genuinely made 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah, so that was the Summernats Grand Champion.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I can understand why that won.
Yeah.
That thing was badass.
So that was the Summernats Grand Champion.
Yep.
Victor Bray built the motor.
Sure.
And dude,
600 and something cube?
I know it's fucking bigger.
Yeah, wow.
It's bigger. And he popped the bonnet, like the block is
Yeah.
billet, the
Yeah,
heads
yeah,
are
yeah,
billet.
wow.
It's just,
It's a work of art.
it's a work of
For it
art.
to be grand champion, it'd have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the guy like gives it some.
Yeah.
Like it's not babied around.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's
That's even better because they should be driven,
Yeah.
appreciated. Now, mate, you've just shown us the lovely 𝐿𝐷𝐼𝐒. Tell me 3 favourite cars or cars that you would own. 1 race car, 1 daily, and 1 what's now I've called or labelled it the fuck you car.
oh yeah.
So top 3.
My top 3 would be a 550 Maranello, which is a Ferrari,
What colour?
in red or silver.
Sure. Ooh, yeah, not yellow.
No,
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 sure, okay.
no, yellow. I think
you've got yellow.
yellow,
Yeah,
yeah.
done. Okay.
I took the yellow box.
Sure.
Like red or silver. You ever watched the Bad Boys movie?
Mate, who hasn't?
Remember the silver
Yeah,
Maranello?
Mate, I remember them from back in the day, Korn, the Got the Life film clip,
Yes,
where they jumped
yes,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that hurt
So
me.
good.
My first ever model toy was a red 550 Maranello,
yeah.
and that's ever since then. That's been the dream car.
Sure.
So one day,
I had my sister, when we were kids, she had the Barbie and Ken Ferrari.
Right.
So I remember like stealing that all the time and just practicing doing skids and making noises with it back in the day. you
Yeah,
know?
so that's my fuck you car.
Yeah, sure.
That'll be the car that I get.
Stock, or would you do something to
Stock.
it? Yeah.
That's the one car
Convertible or
I would
hardtop?
appreciate hardtop.
Sure.
The only thing I do is put nice little wheels, lower a little
Yep,
bit,
yep,
nice
100%
beautiful
stack it.
stance. That's it.
That's the fuck you
it's
car.
one of those cars that's just in my mind they're just done right.
Yeah.
You got the open shifters,
Yeah.
the V12.
Yeah.
It's just it's like
And
a
that
muscle
sound.
car, but it's a
And you'd have to straight pipe it.
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah. Just the noise. It's
Yeah,
angry.
it would sound amazing.
So that's the fuck you car?
yeah.
Daily?
A daily. You know what, dude? I think a daily would be really cool to have, like an AMG or something.
Sure.
You know, or an AMG or
type?
huh?
What type? So many.
The older C63s.
Oh, yes, sir. The
The
V8s.
supercharged ones.
Yeah, before they went twin turbo.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The muscle car ones.
Yeah. But
The
all the
ones
creature
that-
comforts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the ones
totally.
you hear take off and they sound like a fucking like an old Mopar.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of Mopars, let's change. No, actually, no. We'll finish this before we go into this. The last car, race car.
A GT40.
Oh, sure.
GT40. But not a real deal one, but
a replica.
like a Pace. You know the Pace?
Yep.
Have you seen the Pace one?
The new one or the old ones?
Old shape.
Yes.
But Pace do a kit.
Okay.
It's all alloy body and a Kevlar shell.
So it's
and
super light.
very light.
Yep.
And old school 427 ITBs.
Yep.
Painted like the old Golf
Sure.
GT40s. You know, with the I think it's orange and blue.
Yeah,
and
I know the ones
white.
you're talking about. Yep, sure.
Was-
That's
was
different,
that,
man.
Was that the Martini? I think a Martini maybe. Anyway, like the
Golf
old Le
Red-
Mans.
Yeah,
Like
I know
old
the
Le
ones
Mans.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be my 3.
It's a different mix.
Yeah.
What's I going to say?
What are yours?
Mopar, that's right.
What are yours?
Oh man. So I've thought about this so much. So my daily this is very impractical, but I'd like an F-150 or one of those big ass trucks, a big Julie.
It makes sense. Like what? I'm surprised you even fit in that thing.
Brother,
The size of
get
those
out of-
legs.
Get out of here. So that'd be my daily, just because I need a tow rig to tow the trailer. And obviously, I'd love to go racing more. That'd be
Yeah, the
one of
F-trucks
the
are cool.
dailies.
The
Yeah,
F-trucks are cool.
and they're just so big, comfortable.
What's his name? Luke Mitchell has an F. I forgot what it is, but it's a big F truck.
Thomas McManaway's got a real cool one.
Yeah.
Lifted, massive wheels. We literally on an episode
they look
previously,
good.
man. I literally like to climb up into it. I would have to climb.
You?
Yes, it's jacked up. It's cool. That'd be my daily if I could. For me, man, I'd love for a race car. I'd have to say a Fox body, man. Like
Really?
For me, I've got my dream car.
As
I
a drag car or as like a pro tourer?
Nah, I like at the moment I'm fixated on drags. I have a
Okay.
goal. I have a goal with the drags, and I'm not content until I hit that goal.
Okay.
So I'll always keep that Fox body, but the engine combo is probably going to change.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd like
I've
to.
always been a fan. You know, do you ever watch? Oh, what was it? What was it? There were old DVDs. I think they were called Mischief or something.
Oh, do I ever with the Speed Hunters?
Yeah.
Yes.
But there was another series, and they had like street drags in Detroit.
Yes,
And
yes,
they were
yes,
they
yes,
were
yes.
all these Fox bodies
Yeah.
with like these cranky little 5
Yeah,
liters
yeah,
and shit,
yeah, yeah.
nitrous and the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
wheel
yeah.
standing. And
I chat to so many of the boys over in America with Fox bodies because obviously once you find or buy one, the actual original owner of mine tracked me down on Instagram and he's like, hey man, that was my old car. I was like, no way. He sent me photos of it when he built it in his shed and all the transplants of engines it's had over the way, and then it come over here.
That's
then
pretty
obviously,
cool.
yeah, it was
pretty
quite cool. So we've had conversations, and then all these other guys, and what they do with them things over there, man, there is incredible.
Yeah, whether it's just like a backyard dragster or a full-blown road, I like it.
Yeah.
I've actually always been a fan of the Fox
Out
bodies.
of the box or out of the factory, they're just a good race car.
Yeah,
They
the
just
only
make
one
a
that
good
ruined
race car.
Fox bodies was who's that rapper?
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
He had a Fox body.
He has a Fox body.
That's cool.
But his is.
He gets more street cred if he's got a Fox body.
You should look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I think he ruined it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's
Hey,
cool because it's a Vanilla Ice Fox
Yeah.
body, but have a look at it.
Sure, I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, so that'd be my two, and then obviously a daily or the fuck you car would be a Bugatti or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
White
something
boy
that
stuff.
makes. Yeah. White boy stuff. They call me Vanilla Ice of where are we? Clontarf?
Clontarf,
So, but yeah, let's give us a
Bugatti would be
piece
cool.
of advice, man. I ask everyone this question: something from if you could give yourself for 5 years ago, what would that be, man?
Spend more time with the people you love.
Sure.
So spend more time with mum, spend more time with your dad,
Yeah.
with your partner, or whoever it is that you call family.
Yep.
Let that be number one.
Yeah, I feel like that's so good. Like you can take that on so many different levels as well. Because I heard a statistic the other day. It was like when you get to a certain amount of age, you've roughly only got X amount of Saturdays left in your life. And I was like, I stopped for a minute and I was like, fuck. And I thought about it. I was like, man, that's not that many.
And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, like I'm
It's like-
30.
it's
What am I,
like-
36?
It's counting down.
Yeah. So then I was like, man, I'm gonna. Like my life, I try and make the most of every single day, and that's what I'm trying to do. What I love and I'm passionate about. So I'm like, man, like that hit home.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I
not
think
wrong.
it's that, man. I think it's time with the people you love, and good things happen from that.
Yeah, sure.
things happen from it.
Speaking of good things, man, I've been itching to get inside and show everyone what the hell's going on inside. So let's go for a bit of a tour. Tell me what's going on inside here, mate. This is where the magic happens. So
Are you going this way? You're going this way.
you lead the way, mate.
Come on,
I'll just
come-
follow you. Will you be able to fit through the door? Will you have to go through sideways?
Oh, that's rich.
Look at the size of the arms on the man. So this is where the magic happens.
This is it, mate.
So when people come in to see you, they go knock on the door, come on in.
They come in through the front entrance. But
Yep.
this is, mate, it's a quaint little studio, and mate, this is where it all happens. Like this is.
Talk me through some of the most recent drawings. Is there anything you can't show, or
I'm just trying. When does this go up?
weeks?
In weeks.
Well, maybe a week, 2 weeks.
Okay, if we could do 2 weeks, that should be right.
Done.
Yeah. So I just finished this one. This will be a present for a gentleman.
Oh wow. Man, look, I can't get over how realistic that looks.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't know if that's going to show up in the camera, guys, but wow. Do
Actually,
yourself a favor and like come in and have a look at this guy's work.
I did this one.
Buy something. I'm telling you.
I just finished this one. This is a father and son. They wanted to see their cars drag racing together at Lakeside.
Wow.
It's got the.
Oh, it's got
It'd be hard to. It'd be hard. It's got a lot of glare, but
Can you close that door?
yeah. This one?
Oh no, there we go. Yeah. No, it's a bit glare.
Nah, you're probably not gonna see it.
No. If I cut it from the angle,
Should have another drawing.
there it is. Perfect. And being Fords, that would be tyre smoke, or would that be transmission? What would that be?
I got these two. This is a gentleman's concept,
Oh wow.
and this is guy's GTO. Not GTO, we call it Chevelle. So.
Yep. Wow.
That was just made up because
Yeah.
that car doesn't exist, and this was off a photo. So you can see the difference between a concept and a photo. I can do a lot more detail in a photo because I just copy a photo.
Wow.
And
Man, that is incredible.
And there's one, so if this doesn't go up till 2 weeks, we should be all right. There's one that I've just finished, and that's this one here. I think I've spent just over 180 hours on this one.
Yes. I know. I've seen that car around. It's a Brisbane car.
Yeah.
Yep. It used to be another colour or something.
Yeah, so
Yep.
so what it is, so Aaron, Nick's partner,
Yes.
husband now, sorry, he wanted to surprise her with the 3 variations the car had gone through.
Yeah.
So that was its first look, just silver with the wheels.
Yep.
And then it had a wrap with that copper rose color.
Yes.
And this is its final look.
Okay. Cool.
So it's gone to 3 different variations
Yep.
since she's owned it. It's called Miss R8. And then up here we put like 3 little close-ups of some of the details.
Yeah, lovely.
And yeah.
Your
so-
attention to detail is crazy, hey.
Yeah, thanks, man.
One of the photos, you had this at the old shop, didn't you, up
Yes.
the top here? Yeah, I love this. Let's see if we can capture that. It's like, it tells a nice little story from the beach staff to
Turn the light off.
to the street.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a gentleman's
you go-
collection plus other cars.
Yeah,
And
I
he
love
was-
that because it's like a progression. You know, you got
It
the
is.
beach to the track or the street to the track.
Yeah, a bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, that was one that had complete creative freedom. That
Yeah.
was one of those wonderful customers.
And this one here,
And this one's just like a, I think XA, XB.
I'm not sure.
I think it's an XA. I'll probably gonna get my ass kicked about that. But it's a Fairmont. This gentleman wanted to have. He just finished an Oreco, so we did
Yeah.
the rusty old look of when he pulled it out of the barn down the bottom,
Yeah.
and then the main
Yeah,
finished
yeah, cool.
reconditioned on the top.
Yeah, love that.
And,
so much cool stuff here, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
you do a lot of portrait stuff as well.
No, so this I'm going to give a shout out. This is Tam from Tam's Image Reflections.
Okay.
You can find her on Insta.
Yep.
Exactly how I said it.
Yep.
And she does portraits of animals, so
Sure.
dogs, birds, and all that sort of stuff.
Now, is that Stevie Wonder up there? Who is that?
No, that's
Ray Charles?
yes, Ray Charles.
Charles.
Ray Charles.
He's not blind though, is he?
Yes.
He is blind?
Yes.
Do you reckon he saw what was going on at P. Diddy's house?
Anyone saw what's going on at PD's house, bro. And that's a charcoal drawing of John Belushi, the blues brother.
Yeah, sure. How cool is that? So we can capture that. I was going to say, he looks someone mafia related, but obviously now you say the Blues Brothers. Yeah, that is cool. Man, the detail is incredible.
Yeah, this one was really cool. Like
Yeah.
all the hair, the wrinkles.
How long would something like that take for you?
This one actually took me like 4 days.
Wow, wow.
Probably about
and
6.
obviously all the artwork and stuff, you got every single colour under the sun.
Yeah, those are the markers, and then
Yep,
and then
yep.
there's all these trays are full of pencils. These
Yep.
are all pencils. Let's keep going.
For days.
That's it.
Yep, lovely.
But yeah, simple, easy,
Yep.
nice little creative space for me to work at, mate. And
And that's it, the Criss-Cross studio.
this is where it all happens.
That is it.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember his page. So it's on my video
Yes.
on Insta.
Yep.
But it's Burnout Team Slammer.
Sure.
Because they own the Castrol Victor Bray car now as well.
Him and, what's the Mad unit? The Mad Indian, Pav.
Yeah, they've got that Grand Champion car.
Uh-huh.
They've got the Castrol Bel Air,
And Victor Bray's a legend in the.
And Victor Bray's part of it.
Yeah,
He builds
yeah,
the engines.
yeah.
He's still in it all, so
Yeah,
which
cool.
is great to see.
Yep.
But yeah, that video, mate. Holy crap! Like I've had a few videos hit like a little bit of viral, but like it's like close to 18 million
That
views
broke
now.
the internet, man.
It was great.
Yeah,
was like,
I saw pages in America and
Yeah.
all over the world were sharing it. I was like, "That's my brother, Criss-Cross." I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. I was having like a high five moment to myself. I'm like, "That's my man, getting
thanks,
recognition. That was sick."
I'm glad I put the watermark because
100%.
so many people took the video as well. Like
100%.
it got re-uploaded everywhere,
Yeah.
but it was cool, mate. It was cool. It's one of those things. It's just great. You know,
the
whether-
color, the sound, the way it's presented is beautiful.
it's a 10 out of 10 build.
Yeah, sure.
It's a 10 out of 10 build.
Yeah.
It's one of those cars that you could dream to build.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, that is someone's dream. That's someone's dream come true.
Yeah, it is. You know, and I honestly, dude, that would have been. I'm guessing that car would have cost over $1 million to build. I would
You
think.
can't put a price on toys, though,
You
can you?
can't. You can't. But
I feel
just-
like anything good costs money these days.
It does.
Yeah.
Anything, dude.
Yeah.
Like you can get a full rotisserie rebuilt one of these,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you could spend 250 grand.
all day.
So, but then to do everything custom with a lot of hours,
Yeah, and
like
attention to detail.
attention to detail
Yeah.
with highly modified parts.
Yeah.
I think it's like that forged XY and a lot of those
Yeah.
big. I think they get close to that $1 million, if not over. Like if I had that sort of money, it would go to things like that
Sure.
rather than the Lambo or something like that. I probably would still get the Ferrari, but.
Hey, why not?
But
Why not
it's-
have multiple toys?
But it's so cool that things like that are built here. So cool that we've got these high caliber.
Yeah. That could compete on
Builds.
any stage
Yeah.
and win any show.
Yeah.
What's coming up for you, man? It's the back half of 2024.
Yeah.
What's going up for 2024 and what's expected for you in 2025, man?
Well, dude, at the end of the day, the biggest thing is I'm actually planning to start wrapping up the drawings.
Sure. What? Is that an exclusive or?
No, well, I've put up a few hints here and there, but
Okay.
the intention is I'm getting close to my 1,000th
Yeah.
drawing now.
Guys, get in quickly then.
Yeah.
If he's going to wrap it up, I'm telling you, flood this guy's Instagram and get him to draw so he doesn't hang up the pens.
Yeah.
We can't have a legend stop. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's the go? Why?
Well, I want to get to the 1,000th,
Yeah.
which is, I'm nearly there.
Yeah.
I only got, I think, 80 to go.
Brother, I'm going to have to get you to do my Fox body then before you stop.
we have to do a Fox
Yeah,
body.
100%. I need to get a before and after.
And once I get to the 1,000th, what I want to do, the intention is, I want to set up. Sorry, I'll stick to this. I want to finish this.
Yep.
I want to stop taking commissions.
Sure.
Because I want to work on artworks that I want to do.
Cool.
So not artworks that you're commissioning me to do in the way that you want to see it, or
Yeah.
with the things you want. I want to do stuff that creatively just for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Like the girl painting that I'm doing
Yeah.
there, the chrome girl. Like,
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Sure.
I'm barely getting time to do it.
Yeah.
So
Is that because you're just taking on so much work at the moment? Now, I'm just going to change topic here. I want to come back to this, but you've got right into your fitness and you're trying to look after yourself now. What spurred that, man?
Honestly, it was so the old boy passed away. He had bowel cancer.
Yeah, shit.
And you know, it was shocking to see the man who you saw as unbreakable, as unbeatable.
Yeah.
You know,
That's your dad.
the pinnacle of what a dad should be.
Yeah.
Wither away.
Yeah, sure.
And to watch that, to have the mortality of someone that you love presented to you was one thing, but then to watch that person who was your Hercules become this thing that just the cancer just ate away.
That happened to my old boy. He had passed away of cardiovascular dementia.
Right.
His big bopper, you know, that big scary dude, and then you look at him in a hospital bed and
It's a shell.
It's like a shell of a dude. It's disgusting.
It's not what it was.
Sorry to hear that, man.
And that sent me down a traumatic mental path with what you would call depression or sadness or PTSD, whatever it is. But I was in a bad place, and that introduced a lot of bad habits, a lot of stupid things. And what started to change was obviously a lot of help from my wife. My wife's an incredibly grounded, genuine person. She's a counsellor herself.
Yeah, beautiful.
𝐸𝐿𝐒 Counselling, if you want to check her out.
Give her a plug. Yeah. Whereabouts is she located?
Just in here in Redcliffe.
Beautiful.
But you know, and obviously my family was starting to notice the depletion in my mental health.
Yeah.
And it was starting to show with some of my art.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I did to try and change it was my relationship with my food.
Sure.
Because I was
Did you have a bad relationship with food?
Of course I did,
Yeah.
dude, because I was sad.
Yeah.
So eating junk, sugar, salt,
To try fix the depression?
well, it was just that instant dopamine hit.
Yeah, sure.
It was just like, I go Macca's, so you got lots of salt, bad salt.
Yeah.
You got lots of sugar, processed sugar. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom. You get this. You get
but
this
you
little
feel
high.
good for maybe the time you're eating it, but then you feel
Oh,
instantly
you go
shit
straight back
afterwards.
down.
Yeah.
You go straight back down. And then I resort to other things to
sure.
maintain a certain level of.
But now you're in pretty good shape, man. Like you exercise a lot.
Yeah. So that was the introduction.
Yeah.
Changing my diet. So I'm now on a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
And I'm not sticking to it because I think it's better than anything else.
Yeah.
I'm fully aware that carnivore diets can be just as healthy as anything
Sure.
else. But it's the thing that has helped me massively.
Totally.
And I found a wonderful routine and I feel great, so I'm sticking to it.
Good.
So the diet was a huge thing that begun to better my mental health because I no longer was eating these things that allowed bad habits. And then the next thing came seeing a psychologist.
Sure.
And for years, it went from like weekly to fortnightly to monthly, and now maybe once every 6 months if I need it. And that's begun this wonderful, again, a flow. This flow of.
And for you to be able to recognise that and go out and seek help is a big thing.
It is. And the unfortunate thing is, like, if I look back, everyone wanted me to, or the people close to me wanted me to.
You just have to be wanting to do it at the time.
It has to be your choice.
Yeah, totally.
It has to be your choice. You know, and I've seen it, and now I understand it greatly when I see a friend or someone around me that they need help. They genuinely need help, or they just need to talk. But it has to be their choice. They have to consciously think, okay, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and actually talk about these things that are killing me inside.
And it's good to go chat to people that aren't potentially related or know you on a friend.
It has to be.
Because there's no bias then.
There's no bias. There's no opinion.
Sure.
There's no relatable topic. There's a blank canvas that you can just open up to.
Yeah, amen.
And when you start verbalizing these things that are eating you up inside, just that in itself is a powerful thing to do.
It's almost like a weight comes off your shoulder. Hey?
Yeah. So then that got better, and then again, the next thing it took me was my spirituality and my femininity and all these sort of things, my masculinity, and now there's a great synergy between the food that I eat, the way I diet, the way I exercise.
Because they all work together. Like you can't do one and not the other one. It all has an equal part.
Yeah, and it's all work. Like it's hard.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle though.
Yeah, it's hard because it's a conscious decision that you have to make to do these certain things every single day, day in, day out, and stick to it.
I say the same thing to my clients as well. You can't be good one day and then shit for the rest and expect a result.
No.
It's a product of consistency and time in, time out.
And
doing the small things.
That's right. And the beauty about it is that it becomes the habit.
Totally.
Because if you do this for long enough, and you would know this more than anything, if you then decide on Monday I'm going to take Monday off and I'm gonna have some pancakes and I'm gonna eat like shit. I'm gonna smoke a bong. I'm gonna play Call of Duty.
What?
You're gonna feel like shit.
100%.
Because you've broken. Even though the habits, you have to continuously work on them.
And it's almost a self-sabotage in a way, isn't it?
It is. But these things that are hard to do become the habit.
Yeah.
And the guiltiness that you feel from not doing it is actually a positive guilt. Because it's like, I'm guilty because I'm doing the good thing, instead of feeling guilty of not doing the right thing.
I say this to a lot of people, and I know we're getting off topic on cars a little bit here, but I feel like this is a really good conversation to have, is people go to the gym and they see it as a chore. But I don't know anyone that has ever walked in the door, not just to see myself as a coach, but they've walked in the door, they might feel shit or depressed or have a burden on their shoulders. They walk out, and I guarantee it, 100% of the time, they always walk out feeling better than they did when they walked in. Fair enough, they might still have the same battles and demons going on, but that it's almost like a form of antidepressant, is pushing your body to a point where it feels like it's growing and adapting and getting better.
But it is though.
100%.
But any sort of cardiovascular exercise, the research behind how it can help you mentally it's there. Like the fact that you're not only moving your blood, not only moving your muscles, but you're breathing. Like you're forcing deep breath. Because when you're in your head, you're depressed or you're in a bad state of mind, you hold your breath.
Sure. Tense up.
Very shallow breath, and your heart is a palpitate, and then you get into this horrible state mentally.
Yeah, it causes more stress. Obviously, that stress hormone comes up. There's so many other factors.
But when you're exercising, it allows the body to start reacting. It starts to allow the body to use some of this stuff in a positive way. And it also, because you're causing pain, you're causing a bit of discomfort, for that brief moment, you're present in that time.
Totally. Well, you have to be.
You're not in your head. You're finally out of your mind. And you're concentrating on the physical action rather than the mental pain.
You know what? I like that. People say to me all the time, they're like, oh man, I don't know how you do it every day. You know, like there's days where I don't feel like I want to do it, or
great. That's the day you go.
Everybody has the same problems, but there's days where I've been like, I don't want to go to the fucking gym today. I feel like shit. Or I'm training and I train with no music, and there's those noises in my head which are like, don't do it, that'll do, stop, you're not strong enough, you're a pussy, you can't do one more. And I use that as my fuel to be like, all right, well, I'm going to have that battle with my own head to go, all right, we're going to do one more. And I'm going to prove myself wrong.
Yeah, I think whenever the mind, not the body, not the heart, but when the mind can be a beautiful thing, but it could also be our worst enemy.
Oh, it's a demon sometimes.
Yeah, and but the thing is, we need that.
100%.
It's that balance. You need good, you need bad. You need a bit of good, you need a bit of bad. So the bad is good, the good is bad. Doesn't matter. But to have that thing that says you shouldn't do that, you should stop, that's when you should do it even more.
As long as it's safe.
As long as it's safe. But when your body, if you've injured yourself, if you're sick, you've got a bit of an illness,
different story.
You're shitting yourself constantly. Okay, listen to your body, take a break. That makes perfect sense. But as far as the mind and the challenges that you put on yourself, the weight, that's the perfect opportunity to go and do something. And it's like I meditate a lot, and I speak to people, and it's you know, a lot of people say, how the fuck do you do that? Because a lot of people say, dude, I couldn't sit with my own thoughts for 5 minutes, let alone an hour.
You got to practice that though, don't you?
Yeah. But it's when they say that, it's like, I couldn't sit with my thoughts for 5 minutes. It's like, that's what you have to fucking do then. Like, start there. Sit with your thoughts for 5 minutes. Why can't you sit with your thoughts for 5 minutes?
Process it.
That's where your weakness is. Like, and the funny thing is, it's like a lot of people who are in these headspaces, I think, exercise without knowing. So they exercise the pain. It's like a bicep curl. If you keep doing bicep curls, you're going to get big biceps.
Sure.
If you keep exercising the thing that's
Speaking of big biceps, mate, they're about to pop out of that shirt, mate.
I'm just trying to catch up with you, bro. But if you keep exercising the bad thoughts, those bad thoughts are going to be very, very strong.
Yeah, totally.
So you need to take a moment to actually, like I said, feel what's going on. So in meditation, when I have a bad day, or a really bad day, that's the perfect day to do a meditation. Perfect day. If it's a horrible down day where I'm feeling like a piece of shit or something has happened, I'm rattled and everything's going on, that's the perfect day to do a meditation. Now,
we've sort of gone off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I want to go back to what do you got for the end of 2024? And then 2025, what can we see from Criss-Cross?
2024, mate, I'm just going to start winding down. I've got a lot of Christmas orders to finish. I'm going to smash those out and then just focus time with the wife, time with the family. Next year, like I said, I hope to get to the 1,000th drawing. And close the books. But at the same time, I'm doing courses now to get into life coaching, into the mental health perspective, and I want to start doing art classes and art therapy.
Yep.
Because this is great and I love it, but I'm also an extroverted person stuck in a room by myself.
Yeah, which is not healthy.
That's why I love the car show. So I'm going to start leaning out of this so that, Mustang.
A nice Mustang just drove past.
68, 67.
Yeah. Nice turquoise.
Yeah. So getting out of this next year will be the intention, so I can start being with people, integrating and being more with the community and helping in some way.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
actually giving more than this. Once I get to the 1,000th drawing, to me this was a build of a legacy.
Sure.
Because after I'm long dead, these drawings will be up somewhere.
Totally. Mate, well, until the day I die, mine's always going to be up in my lounge room.
Right.
So,
you know, and a lot of these artworks are sentimental to people.
100%.
So if you have kids, you know, this will be dad's drawing, it'll be granddad's drawing.
If I ever do have kids, hopefully the day comes, I can't wait to them go, oh, Dad, was that yours? Yeah, Dad was cool once.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, so that's the legacy that I did this for, to have something that will outlive me.
Yeah.
But now I'm more focused on the present, which is how can I give back what the time that I got here. So I want to finish this up so I can spend more time with people, my family, and doing the things that I want to do.
So plenty things coming.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Change is coming.
Change is good.
Change is good.
Criss-Cross, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on another episode of In the Sheds. Another plug for the socials, man. Where can everyone find you? They're going to blow up your DMs, hopefully, and get every single drawing done, so you're not going to be able to retire for a while. Give another plug for everyone out there, man.
Yeah, Insta is Criss-Cross Art. Facebook is Car Drawings by Christian Cross. YouTube, Criss-Cross Art. TikTok, Criss-Cross Art. The website, crisscrossart.com.
I'll put some links in the description down below in the comments.
I'll give you a link tree.
Brother, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks. Sick.